3:15 in the afternoon here on the Burns and Gambo Show, live from Sanderson Ford, 51st Avenue, just south of Glendale. And the topic of the day, the story of the day, the person of the day in announcing his retirement from the NHL. And I can already see he's uncomfortable with me labeling all of that on him. Shane Doan joining us in person on site as he announced his retirement this morning via a letter in the Arizona Republic and through a phone call with Gambo last night. The captain of the Coyotes joining us here on the Burns and Gambo Show for one final time as a member of the organization. Welcome, and thanks for coming down, Doaner.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Emotions right now? I mean, you've got to be going through so many. We've talked through the whole thing. I know it's got to be you were back and forth. I'm going to play, I'm not going to play. I'm going to play, I'm not going to play. So I would imagine is you told me that you're at peace with this decision now. Why?
I don't know. It's a whole bunch of things. I think that for me personally, it was the longer and the more I started saying it probably the beginning of July just to see how it felt to my family and to the people close to me, and it was tough because it's something that you've done all along, and yet at the same time it's a right decision, and I am at peace with it, and I've prayed about it, and my wife and I've prayed about it, and it is the right decision, and I know that.
I think initially when you were, I think there was anger when you were told that you weren't wanted back by the organization here. And I actually bet at that time, you owe me $10, by the way. I made a bet with Burnsy that you were going to play. I felt that you, and maybe it was just anger that had happened, but at that time in June, when you found out that you weren't going to be brought back here or not wanted back here, you seemed like you wanted to play. I want to prove that I could still play. I know I could still play. You didn't want to go out like that. So I think that there was a period of a couple of weeks where you were dead set on playing. Is that true?
No, yeah. When it first happened, I was pretty comfortable with the decision towards the very end of the season, and I talked with Stan and my wife, and they're like, hey, just make sure that this isn't just a decision that towards the end of a season that you're making because you're kind of tired, and the team we weren't doing too well, so it was it wasn't always fun coming to the rink. And then I waited a little bit, and I probably would have made that decision right around then. And then when I got told that, I overreacted, and probably the reason why I shouldn't have said anything at the end of the season is why I shouldn't have said anything right then. And I did. And but then as I kind of recognized that the situation was what it was, this is the right decision.
How you're a universally recognized nice guy, okay? And you're gonna be all humble and all shucks and all that stuff. You're a universally recognized nice guy. How hard did you have to work to suppress that anger, to beat it back when all of that went down at the end of June? Because even the nicest guy in the world would have a hard time with all that. And yet, at the same time, you handled it with nothing but class, and your public comments were very understanding about it. How hard did you have to work to suppress those kind of raw emotions about that?
That was difficult just because I didn't like it, and I didn't feel like it was what I wanted. And I think we all have that we have an idea of the way we want things to go, and when they don't go that way, then we tend to react. And I had some people that were really close to me, with my wife and Stan again, where they're like, you have to understand that you need to be careful and not be just reckless. And I enjoy the fact that when I'm on the ice, I have an ability to be a little bit of reckless, and a little bit, and I'm really anxious about the fact that part of my life isn't going to be there anymore, because I enjoy that. But in that situation, it was one of those things that, and it wasn't. There was time, and I understood why they made the decision. But yeah, it was really hard.
There were times, I'm sure, behind closed doors, away from everything. I'm sure, and you don't need to go into detail about it, because I know you don't want to.
No.
But I can't imagine there weren't times in private where you just wanted to. Well, you probably did scream at the walls in frustration about how things went down.
Yeah, there was a couple times when I got pretty and usually by myself in the car. That was kind of my wife.
That's a good time, isn't it?
My wife's like, well, in between dropping kids off, you can yell and scream and do whatever you want. And then, I mean, she's been amazing with her and the people around me have kept me kind of focused. And hey, are you kidding me? It's not the end of the world. People get fired and let go all the time. And their reaction is exactly the reaction that I had too. So that's the way it goes.
You played 21 years in the NHL. 21. We were just told the next closest athlete that has spent the most amount of time in this valley is Fitz at 13 years. Got 8 years more than him.
And a lot more catches. He has a lot more catches than me.
He has a lot more catches than you.
Yeah.
Could you have ever imagined when you got into this league that you would have played that long?
No, and that was the thing. Like I come from a pretty small town, and when I played my first game, I was like, they're never going to be able to take that away from me. Like I played a game in the NHL. Good. I'm good. And then I'm like, oh wait, can we play another one? Like, can we do this again? And man, I never would have ever dreamed that. You know what? It just happens so fast, and then when it's over, it's like, whoa. I literally
21 years flew by.
Yes, and it sounds like such the old guy saying that to young people.
But it's true.
I'm still skating with Devo and Max or Devo and Fish and Knotts and a bunch of the guys that are in town. They're all skating, and I'm skating with them. And you really, really sound old when you're like, oh, guys, don't take it for granted. It happens so fast. But anybody what is it? The youth is wasted on the young. And
yes. What do you remember about being named captain of the Coyotes?
The jerseys had just changed when it happened, and so we just went to the red jerseys from the white ones with the Chikina kind on it. And I remember being I think we were at Arrowhead Mall, and they told me before, and Wayne was the one that Wayne and Mike Barnett had told me, and just the fact that it was Wayne Gretzky and Mike Barnett telling me was pretty cool. And I was pretty excited. I was beyond. That's one of those things that 30 captains in the entire league. You're a pretty special group.
Were you always a leader, or did you have to learn how to lead? You go down as one of the great leaders in this game. You do. You are looked upon as one of the best leaders in this game. Is it something you were born with, or did you have to learn to be a leader?
I think it's probably a large amount of both. That there is naturally people that have the tendency to lead and are comfortable in that position, and then there's a ton of learning, and some people around that kind of established and put some time into me that pointed things out and took time to point out to me and things that I need to improve on and be way better at, and things that I have to stop doing or things I need to do more of, and so I think it's probably a little bit of both, a lot of both.
So we're going to get into kind of what your post-retirement plans are and all of that stuff. But you mentioned something a second ago, and I want to kind of follow up on it. So you're this kind of reckless guy on the ice and this very in-control off the ice guy. Now that the on the ice, and it hasn't been taken away because we've had you on the show for years. And I know you've known Gambo for basically every day you've been here, and you've said many, many times
he used to bring me chocolates.
Exactly. I'm going to keep playing this game.
Yeah.
It might be in front of 10 people, but I'm going to keep playing this game as long as I can stand. So you'll still have that outlet, but without that outlet, what are you going to do? Where is the reckless Shane Doan going to go when he needs to be reckless?
I know, because he can't, and I mean, there's no way I can play rec hockey recklessly.
You kill those poor guys.
Well, you just can't. You take it so personal, and it's so fun to play, but I also the competitiveness of, and I get teased at times about being fairly, on the ice, there's times when I was that I was considered a dirty player at times, where you'd finish a check that you're in the playoffs, particularly trying to find a way to win, trying to find an advantage, and I enjoyed that kind of aggression. I really did, and there's no way that you can do it anywhere else, and I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but I know it's and at this point in my career, I mean, last year was pretty much gone for the most part anyways with the way that I played. So but I really, really enjoy that, and that's probably going to be the hardest thing. I talked with my boys. We might take up jiu-jitsu or something and try to do some wrestling.
Conor McGregor just made $100 million, went into boxing. Maybe you can go fight for the heavyweight championship.
But I did kind of figure it'd be something like that. It'd be some sort of physical activity, jiu-jitsu, karate, martial arts. I mean, something to get that aggression out, because when you spend an entire career being that guy on the ice, how do you fill that void? Where does it go?
Yeah, having the ability to do it and not have any repercussions. Like, you can't get in trouble. Like, that's.
You mean I can hit you?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that?
That's the.
Cool.
You'd be in a bad mood and you could do what you kind of wanted to do, But
I think I'll get you an Everlast heavy bag.
There you go.
For your
Just
garage.
punch it out. Good news, Donor. Adam tweeted me a moment ago and said, let Donor know he can come play for Arizona hockey in the next World Police and Fire Games, and wants to know if you want to be a firefighter.
Oh, there we go.
So, Roenick played on my team once.
Yeah.
And he said he had the most fun that he's had in years when he got to play in an adult men's hockey league with me. You might find yourself playing in some adult hockey leagues down the road.
I definitely will. I know I will, because I enjoy
just play
it.
defense.
I know, 100% I'm playing.
Just play
it's
D.
I tease our D all the time. It's so easy to play D.
Sit back.
You don't have to do anything. You just get the puck out of your own zone. You don't know. No responsibility.
Take a couple slap shots. Jump
go.
into the play once in a while.
Shane Doan of the Coyotes, our guest here. Shane announced his retirement this morning, and he is very, very kind to join us here on site at Sanderson Ford, 51st Avenue, just south of Glendale, to grant this interview to us. Gambo's obviously known you for 20 years. I've gotten to know you really well over the last 4 or 5 doing this show with Gambo. I know you addressed it in your letter this morning, and I know you addressed it when you spoke with Gambo last night. Why? Tell me why Shane Doan decided to retire. What were the factors in this?
Well, and I appreciate Sarah McCullen helped us out, my wife and I appreciate her and the Arizona Republic doing that for me so much. And
because you didn't go to school, you can't write.
I know, exactly. So I had to.
Seriously, this is his last day. You're going to be mean to him on the way out the door like that?
Yeah.
Come on.
One or two pops.
Is there one day where you can be nice to Doan? Can't today be that day?
I had that day back in June.
You did.
Oh, is that
there was
day?
A day.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
okay.
over. You don't get two of those.
One day, yeah.
What was I thinking?
That's your one day every decade.
I'm an
that you're
emotional mess, but he's just going to, keep it going. So, what the reason I didn't want to move. My family has given up. There's so many things that you have to put on hold because, and they don't even get to put them on hold because their life keeps continuing. But I've kind of had to put things on hold with my approach to things, where my daughter going away to school, and I did not want for her to call me at some point and me not be able to go immediately.
Yep.
Not that is ever the reason why, but that was on my mind. The fact my daughter's she's going to Azusa Pacific in California, and Josh is 15, and he might be home for 2 more years, 3 more years. I was like, holy cow, this is happening so fast, and their lives are so significant. And all of that being said and done, and my wife had sacrificed so much with not having me really for 6 or 7 months of the year, where, you know what, she could have whatever great plans she had, but the game is going to take priority. And it just didn't seem to equate to in my mind that that's what I needed to do anymore. And then on top of it, the fact that I'd played for one organization for that long, I didn't really it seemed important to me to kind of honor that in a certain way, where it's like, hey, that isn't something that I'm going to just, because I'm angry or mad, throw away anything like that, because it is special, and there's a whole lot of people that have made it special for me for that long, and I really wanted to stay that way.
If you had played with another team, would you have taken your family with you for 1 year, or would you have left them here?
No, they would have came.
So they would have to uproot schools, uproot houses. You would have had to bring them with you. There was 6 months, there's no way you could have been without them.
No.
Was that a decision that you guys reached together as a family unit, that, hey, if Dad's going to go play for New York, we do not want to break up the family unit, we're all going to go to New York?
Yeah. We talked about that, and we'd went as far as looking at like getting a tutor in homeschooling for the year. If it was 1 year, you can do it for a year. Go away 6 months. Everyone's together. It could be fun. And then, so that, without a doubt, my family, I mean, it seems funny because so many families that you guys interviewed a guy, he was a wide receiver, and he was talking about his family and how hard it is and how everybody in the NFL recognizes the guys that are like, Aaron Rodgers and Carson Palmer and everything that goes along with that. But the majority of the league, the instability that comes with being a professional athlete is hard on families. And so I can't complain in the way that my family didn't have to move, but my family had to take the back seat on a lot of different decisions in our lives. And this was a time where I was like, I'm done with that.
5 teams contacted you.
Yeah.
You were offered a contract. I'm not going to say who, but there was a team that wanted you. You had a chance to play.
Yeah.
5 teams contacted you. You had a contract offer available to you. We're not going to say who, but did you come close? Did
I think when that kind of happened and I talked with Terry and I, he's like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "I'm not probably no, I don't. I'm not ready." That was probably one of the moments when I was like, "Okay, that's good. That's good." Like I needed a little bit.
So you needed to have somebody say, "Hey, we want you," and for you to say no.
I think everybody wants to have someone say they want you. Yeah,
absolutely.
And to be able to, but at the same time, it was just that definitive decision to be like, you know what?
So that sealed it. The fact that you knew
that was
you and you didn't want to go.
That was probably one of the things that's helped me come to the final conclusion. But it was a lot to do with it came down to I know it's the right decision, and it's a piece of as much and saying that I'm at peace with it, it doesn't mean that I'm not at times really having a hard time with it bothering me. But for the most part, I know in my heart that it's the right decision.
Did you 5 years ago? You went on this whirlwind tour. You did.
Yeah.
You were in Philly. You were in New York. There was a team that offered you the captaincy.
Yeah.
So I won't say who, but there was a team that offered for you to be the captain of their team if you would have left 5 years ago.
Yeah.
1, do you have any regrets about not leaving then and trying to win? And 2, you had it down to Arizona and Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
How close were you then to choosing Vancouver?
Well, I don't know. It was I have no regrets, 0, like none. Are you kidding me? I've been blessed beyond measures, and how could I ever have a regret for the way that I've been treated and the way that my careers went? It's incredible. I made a lot of mistakes, things that I wish I'd done better and things that I'd done, but I have no regrets, and I think I've always tried to make what I thought was the right decision, and yet I'm very aware at times I probably made the wrong one. But I've always tried to keep that in my heart that I'm going to make the best decision I can. When it was Vancouver, it was close. Just because I knew how much it would help my family to be close to the rest of their family. That was really it. And yet when I talked to my family, they were like, well, that's probably your decision more than it would be our decision. And if we moved, there would be some issues. And really, they put it totally back on me and said, hey, we will, if we go to Vancouver, we'd be happy. But if we go wherever you go, we're going to be happy. And because of that, realistically, in the end, it was like, okay, good. Then Arizona is where I want to be, because we just came off going to the conference finals, and
you were a hot commodity
and
then.
I thought it was going to be go in one direction, and that might be one of the decisions that I made that might have been the wrong one. But I don't ever regret any of them. They have treated me, and I've been beyond. I mean, those guys with way more skill or way more talent haven't been given the same respect and appreciation that have been given me.
Because having no regrets about the decisions that you've made now allows you to be able to walk away from a career that is so unique in today's sports. I mean, you can look back on your decisions and say, man, was that the right decision? And it's great to hear that you don't have any regrets, because now that you're here at the end, I got to imagine that part of your analysis of all of this is to be able to say, look at this career that I had that's just so unique in today's professional sports world, to be able to be with one team for my entire life, and to be that organization's leader in just about every measurable stat you could possibly think of, that's pretty cool.
It is, and it really is, and like we said earlier, it's probably one of the reasons why I chose to retire instead of going to play somewhere else for a year. And it's funny because my competitiveness, if you talk to the guys that I've played with, is probably what got me into trouble in all of our silly games that we play as a team and things we do, whether it's two-touch, which I'm still the reigning champ, and anyone is questioning that, especially Brad Ridge.
Two-touch?
Two-touch soccer, I'm definitely the best. And I don't care what Smitty or Richie or Jans or any of those guys ever say. I'm retiring at the top of that for sure. For sure I am.
You hear that, Keith? Huh? You hear that, Smitty? Yeah.
So, but that at the same time to stay here was the right decision, and and it is unique, and everything that the team went through and everything that we went through as an organization, it just kind of solidified at times that, you know what, if you struggle and succeed, and well, I got the struggle part down, and hopefully they can succeed now.
What was the worst? There were so many different eras,
yep.
Different ownerships, different playing at America West, and then playing in bankruptcy. What was the worst time? Was when the NHL owned the team? Was it when the team was in bankruptcy? What was the worst part for you in your 21 years here?
Well, when the NHL owned us, we actually made the playoffs every year and had a good team and went to the conference finals, and we were in bankruptcy, so that was pretty solid. The worst time, I don't know if I'd say there was a time where I thought it was the worst. The hardest time was probably
The hardest time was probably
right when it came out that we were going into bankruptcy. Right, that first, because that unknown right away was hard, and as a player to kind of toe the line and say, no, everything's going to be good. No, everything's going to be good. No, everything. That was hard. And then
your illness, was it 4 years ago when you didn't know what you had?
Yeah, that was. But that's just bizarre and weird.
That was weird.
Yeah, that was weird. Watch out for ticks. So, but but I did learn a lot. So
I'm sure you did.
I did learn a lot about them.
Shane Doan's passing words of wisdom to all you youngsters out there.
Yeah,
Be careful
check for
of ticks.
Yeah.
Doaner joining us here at Sanderson Ford, and in all the years that we've had you on the show as a weekly guest, we've talked many times kind of about this day and how this was all going to go down. I don't know if this is exactly how you envisioned it. In fact, I'm guessing it probably isn't. So, and you just kind of shook your head a little visibly there. So we appreciate that. You know, I think
you've always been good to us.
Probably preferred something a little quieter, a little more.
Sorry, we
low-key.
weren't in studio today.
Yeah. Well, no. And the people who are here, and you guys have been all great, and we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Right? You guys have been fantastic. We got a nice crowd here watching this all go down. I know this is probably not how you envisioned it, so we appreciate you making these accommodations for us. We've seen over the years here in the Valley when the breakups haven't gone that great between player and organization, that eventually bridges are built, right? Eventually everybody kind of comes to terms with what happened, and the legends always kind of find a way back in, right? Will the same happen to you with the Arizona Coyotes in terms of some sort of future employment, future role with the organization? What do you see as your future as it relates to the Coyotes moving forward now?
Well, I am a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of all the guys and the Coyotes and the people that are involved with them. Like I have no doubt about it. It's been a discussion actually in our house about. I mean, I have my kids are. I mean, this is their home. This is their home, and this is that's the team they've cheered for. So, what's the deal? And my son kind of asked me in a Dad, is it okay if I still cheer for the Coyotes? And I was like, oh, of course. Like, we are legitimate fans of all of the Oliver and going. I mean, I'm a huge fan of all the guys they brought in. I'm excited to see what they do, and I'm going to be a fan of the team for sure forever. And I will be connected to the team forever, I hope, in that, if only in that. And I understand that I didn't like the way that it happened, and very rarely does anyone like the way it happens, and that's just the way it is. I mean, hey, if it was easy, it wouldn't be so difficult for everybody. But it is that way. And we'll see going forward. I have some opportunities to do some other things that I'll probably do, and I mean, time is kind of the thing.
Part of your connection with the fans here has been selling the fans here on the sport of hockey, growing the sport of hockey here in a region that, let's be honest, isn't particularly known for it. By maintaining your connection with the Coyotes, how does it allow you to continue that work, to continue that kind of mission that you've been on these last 20 years, to grow the sport that you love in a region of the country that isn't particularly known for it?
Yeah, because for me, I would never – the last thing I ever wanted to do was for something that I would do would hurt what I've done for the previous 21 years. And that, to me, just makes sense. I mean, that's just common sense. As much as my emotion and whatever wants to kind of get in there sometimes, I want the Coyotes to succeed as much as I can. I want, like I said, the young guys that are coming in with, Devo and Max and Duke and Krauser and Chick and, I mean, Pearls and all the guys that they have coming in, I'm really excited about. I'm excited about them. The guys that I played with, I'm excited about. The trainers, those guys are always going to be special to me.
So Mike Smith just says false. You did not end as a two-touch champion, and he wanted me to tell you that you would never admit otherwise, but tell him at least he didn't eat himself out of the league. He went out on his terms. Yes, he's happy you did not eat yourself out of the league. That's from Smitty.
Ray Whitney started that. Ray Whitney started. He thought it was because I'm a little.
Because Brett Hull ate himself out of the league.
Well, no, Ray Whitney would tease me because I'm a little bigger boned, and I get teased about being a little bigger boned, and so they teased.
I can't relate to that.
No,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I was smiling. We were smiling together. So they would always tease me, and they'd take pictures of when we were going out eating. If I like ice cream, and they'd take a picture of me eating the dessert or an ice cream all the time and send it around to each other, and then tease me about some other players in the past, older players, that may have eaten themselves out of the league, and they would add my name to the list. And then I was like, well, at some point, you got to just retire, right? And that's Keith Yandel and I have a bet, actually, that he has to fly me to wherever he's playing. If at 45 I'm under 250 pounds, which I will be. So he's going to
under 250. What do you weigh now?
I played at 230 this last year, so I only have 20 because they always say everyone.
I know.
I know. I got it though. I got this. That's not going to be hard.
I could envision you doing a lot of different things, but I do envision you in the sport. I think you'll take some time off, spend that time with your family over the next year or two. But I think you're going to do something in the sport. Do you envision yourself as a coach, as a GM, as a president, you could be an unbelievable ambassador to the sport of hockey. What are your thoughts on what you want to do? What do you see yourself 5 years from now? What do you see yourself doing?
Well, I think every player thinks that they can be a GM or a president because we think we all know what we're doing, and none of us really do. So, but at the same time, yeah, those things are something that, and coaching, all that stuff, we all think. And then when you retire and you see the hours that those guys put in and the discipline that they have to do what they do, you appreciate how well they do it. And
so no GM.
I don't see. Hey, I'm not going to say anything. I've said that all along. I'm not saying no to anything. I'm not saying no to anything.
Will you be in the league in some capacity?
I think so. I think that there's, some people have reached out to me and talked to me that I'm interested in talking to them and seeing what it holds. A big thing is going to be my time for the next year or two, and
I'm not going to give up the family time.
No, I'm not going to. I'm definitely not doing what the coaches do because those guys put in hours that are.
Sure.
And I think sometimes I'm a player. I'm no longer a player, so I can say what I think about coaches sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. I think coaches sometimes just work to work. Like they don't
go home.
Like yes, like they don't need to be. Like
it's not going to make a difference the extra 2 hours.
No, like what you're going to show me instead of showing me 25 clips, show me 6 clips so that I know what I'm supposed to do and trust that I can do it. And they spend hours there. And I'm like, guys, you've told me. I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm not an idiot. I heard you the first time. And they spend so much time there. And yet at the same time, you do appreciate it because they are dedicated. And, but so that's probably not one.
Team Canada.
Well, that's Berkey. Berkey and I have been talking, but that's
Give me an update.
We haven't.
Do you want to play?
I want to play. I don't know if I'm capable of playing because the last time I tried going somewhere and not playing and then playing at the World Championships in Vienna, I got embarrassed. And no one else could really tell that I was embarrassing, but for me it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
I remember I got hit by some little guy from Czech Republic, and then he stole the puck and turned around and put it off the crossbar, and I remember being like, holy cow, I can't believe that just happened. This is embarrassing.
What just happened?
Exactly.
So you won't embarrass yourself.
I don't want to embarrass myself. If I was to go, I'd have to play somewhere, and that would be tough to do.
Doaner's been kind enough to hang out one more segment until 4:15 here on the Burns and Gambo Show as he joins us live from Sanderson Ford. Quote, today we wish a bittersweet congratulations to Arizona Coyotes great Shane Doan on his retirement from the NHL. 21 seasons, 1,500-plus games, 972 points scored. Shane Doan can retire his skates with pride. Shane has left an indelible mark on the game, inspiring future generations of hockey players. That from Senator John McCain from the state of Arizona, which is just another in a long line of dignitaries, whether it's former teammates, Valley icons. I mean, and that's kind of what I wanted to ask you about here in this final segment that we have you here. You are truly an icon of Valley sports. I know you're doing the whole you're doing the whole roll your eyes thing and gee shucks, but you are. You're a Valley icon of that's a really tiny club that you're in. What's it like being in that club? I mean, Fitz, Gonzo, you.
That's it.
There aren't too many others who could even merit inclusion in that. What's that like?
Yeah, I guess it's pretty. I'm big fans of all those guys, so that's.
I think they're big fans of you
well,
too.
I
still think Amari Stoudemire was his favorite player. Inside joke.
Inside jokes are terrible on the radio. I'm not sure what that was about.
I just had to make him laugh.
Yeah. You know what? It's for me. It's really cool because I'm genuine. I am a fan. Like I really am a fan of sports, and there isn't.
You love the Cardinals.
I do, and when Larry caught the pass against Green Bay and kind of whatever that play that he made, I remember jumping up and then on the couch and telling him to run and being like so genuine, just excited, so genuinely excited about the moment. And then anything that Goldie's done for the last, this year particularly, but for the last 5 or 6 years, he's been being a fan, and then obviously what Gonzo did with 2001, and then on top of that, being at the Game 7, that was incredible.
Well, speaking of 2001 and Game 7, Luis Gonzalez, a good friend of mine and a good friend of yours, wanted to call in. So Gonzo is on the line as we've got Shane Doan here. We're out at Sanderson Ford. Gonzo, how are you?
Good, guys. How you doing?
Hey, Gonzo.
Good. This is
Donor. Hey, just wanted to call in and echo my sentiments. I'm sure there's so many people in the Valley that it's a great day for Shane and his family, and a sad day for the hockey fans here in Arizona, because I think there was a lot that we're kind of hoping that Donor would continue his career and go to a contender and hopefully get a chance to play for the Stanley Cup. But we all know how important family is, and he decided to move on. So there's going to be bigger and better and great things for him and his family, and we're excited about the new opportunities for you, Donor.
Well, thanks, Gonzo. I mean, it was one of those things. I mean, you and I have talked, and when we talked, it was I value your advice so much, and it was I appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time to call today.
So
it's pretty cool.
I would say let's go golfing, but I'm not a good golfer, so maybe you have to take me out on the ranch sometime.
What happens if we go serve some food somewhere?
Yeah, we'll have to do that for Fitz's.
We didn't get. Did you get invited? I didn't get invited to Fitz's.
I didn't. Well, we must have been pretty bad servers, and we didn't get invited back. We look like, honestly, and for the people that don't know the story, Donor and I were at a Fitz event to be celebrity host, kind of serving tables, and they started talking to all the celebrities, and Donor and I were standing off to the side by ourselves. And Donor kind of leans over and he goes, "Do you think they think we're kickers or something?" Because we were by ourselves in the place. And yeah, it was. We pretty much worked pretty hard, just like the other workers in there that day.
Yeah, we did.
That's
You were
fun.
great. I
That's
thought you
funny
deserved
stuff.
more tips than you got.
You two guys you guys mean more to this community than anybody else. I mean, both of you guys. I mean, you guys are legends here. I think you'll remain legends, and I know you two guys are going to remain friends for a long time. Gonzo, thanks for calling in, man. We really appreciate it.
You got it, man. Congrats, Donor, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Thanks, Gonzo. Really appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
I think I say this in all sincerity. I mean, I really do. I wrote a little piece on you, this morning. It's on our website, ArizonaSports.com. You'll stand the test of time. There are so many athletes come and go, and you don't give them a second thought. And it's the truth. They come, they go. When they hear, you pay attention to them, and when they're gone, they're forgotten. And you'll never be forgotten. I'm serious. I mean, you will always be remembered here, adored here, loved here, cherished for what you've meant to not only as a hockey player, but as a man, as somebody in the community, as a great father, as a great husband, as a great teammate. I mean, I joke around and I bust your chops as much as I can, man. But you and Gonzo, and I think Fitz, you guys stand alone as being icons in this valley, and you always will be.
Oh, I don't know what to say.
You don't have to. It's okay. You ready for presents?
Oh, yeah.
You ready for some parting gifts?
Well, yeah. Who doesn't want presents?
Exactly.
Eh?
Okay,
It's
so-
like my son.
Okay.
So we
My son loves them.
at the station decided to get you a couple of gifts.
Now
The first, is this?
No, that's the one. Yeah, I just want to make sure you get on the right
first
one.
one.
That is a bottle of 1995 Bordeaux wine from your rookie year.
No way.
So that goes back to 1995, right?
Yeah.
That means it's really old. That is an old bottle of wine.
95 on the label right there. A bottle of vintage Bordeaux from 1995.
The first thought was to get you a cell phone.
Of course.
That was the
Of
first
course.
one. Let's get him a cell phone.
Oh,
And,
maybe a new
we
number.
decided to go a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
And you ready for the second gift?
Yeah, we're ready
that's
for the second
incredible.
gift.
Thank you,
This
guys.
is the second
That's
gift.
the second gift. That is a 21-year aged bottle of scotch.
No way.
That, again, reflects the years that you spent in the league, 21-year career, 21-year-old bottle of scotch.
Just to say thank
when
you.
in doubt, give booze.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of our motto around here. When in doubt, give a couple bottles of booze.
I truly don't know what to say, guys. No, you don't have to do any of this. I've been the recipient of so much from you guys, so I thank you
man,
guys.
how many years have we done the show together?
We've
God.
done a long time.
Yeah.
It's been fun. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it.
We've
Really
done the show
enjoyed
for
it.
a long, and we're going to keep it going. We'll always have you on.
Yes.
We'll always have you
Open
on.
invitation to come by whenever
right.
you want. Stop by the station, pick up the phone, call us if we're talking about something that is pushing the buttons a little bit.
Yes, yes.
You need to get that aggression out.
Yeah, if you want to talk football, I know you love the
Ah.
Cardinals
Give us a
or
call.
anything like that.
Anything you want to say to the fans, because we've got a commercial break coming up, and you've been so polite with us and so nice to hang out with us. Any final message for the fan before you go off into retirement?
Just for 21 years, I tried to make the right decisions, and know that I'm very aware of the fact that you don't always do it. No matter how hard you try, you still make mistakes, and but I am incredibly overwhelmed by the way that people have treated me over my career, because I've said it over and over, there's so many guys with more talent, more skill than me that have never received the amount of appreciation and respect that people have shown me. And I don't know that. Like, it's not that I'm not aware of that. I'm very, very aware of the uniqueness of it. And I'm so fortunate. I've seen so many people that I've grown up with. Like, I was 18 or 18 when I got here, and there's people that were like 8 and 9 that feel like they've watched me their whole life, and I feel like they're the same age as me now. But watching them, and they'll come and talk to me, and I just appreciate it. I appreciate the way that I've been treated here in the Valley. I know it doesn't seem like enough, but I really am thankful. And to anyone that I didn't say, I wanted to say thank to Rick Bronstein. He was a guy I listed 5 guys that I wanted to thank, and Bronco and Jimmy were 2 guys that I forgot. I wanted to say thanks to them, and thanks to the fans. Just thank you. I don't know what else to say, because you've done way more. You've given me way more than I could ever give back, and I
You have
appreciate
no
it.
idea how much you gave back to this
So,
community. You
thanks.
meant so much to us, and
Thank you.
and you always will. You will. We'll miss seeing you on the ice, but I know that you'll be around and you'll be
Yes.
a part of this community for a long time, and I'm sure we'll have many more times to get on each other and bust each other up on the radio.
And to you too, you guys, like, I realize that I am viewed through the media's kind of lens. Like, I'm viewed by the people really see me through the way that you guys portray me, and the way that I'm portrayed by Craig and by Sarah and then by the broadcast. I am very aware of how generous and kind you guys have. People talk to me more about this little our weekly thing than probably anything else. They love it, and they're like, "Are you going to give it to them? Are you going to take that?" And then they laugh and joke, and they can't wait. But because of that, people feel like they know me, and you two have been incredible, and I am so grateful for the fact that you've taken care of me. Like, you really have. Like, you really, really have. The media in the Valley have taken care of me beyond what an athlete should get, because there's always an element of accountability, and there's a lot of points that you could make on point out my warts, because I see them myself, and people have always been so gracious in protecting me, and I'm thankful.
We go
Thanks,
back.
guys.
We go back a long time, me and you, and I love you. I do. You got a great family. You're a great guy, and I can't thank you enough for coming here today and spending an hour with us on, what's obviously an emotional and difficult day.
Yep.
Yeah, there's moments that it gets a little bit more than others, but I've enjoyed it, so thank you.
And this might be one of them. So, Donor, thank you. On behalf of everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you very much for everything that you have
Thank
ever
you.
done. Shane Doan, everybody.